When I was a child, I was deeply aware that I was Jewish. And that was because my mother is a survivor of the Holocaust. And I was very aware that the people that I belonged to suffered cruel, cruel torture. And I perhaps were even more aware of it or more sensitive to it because my mother really didn't talk that much about her experience for the sweet reason that she wanted to protect her children from having to know such things. But on the other hand, I think that then gave my mind the license to then imagine what it must have been rather than just hear what it must have been. So growing up, I had this deep awareness that I am part of a hated people. I am part of a people that, although I'm told is chosen, it sounds like a very strange chosenness. If this is what you, God, do to the chosen people, go choose yourself somebody else. So growing up, I couldn't honestly say that I felt a great sense of pride or a real deep sense of happiness that I was Jewish. Now, I went to a public school, and my parents told me because I'm Jewish and because I'm part of the chosen people, I can now go to more school. And now, every day after school, I'm going to go to another school, a Hebrew school, for 2 more hours. Now, all my friends after school are going to see Batman and Superman, and I'm going to Hebrew school to listen to stories about Aaron and Moses. And I was not impressed. I mean, you know, the fact that Moses could split the sea, I just thought, like, Superman would have flown the whole people across. I mean, these were not my superheroes, right? And that although when I went to public school, I was a straight A kid, my parents could not believe it when I came back from Hebrew school and I was a straight Dalit kid, you know? And so whereby the remarks from my report card was, David is a leader, fabulous kid, a pleasure to have in the class. My Hebrew school teacher would write, please take your kid out of our school, right? And I just did not understand what could there possibly be in Jewishness that I could be happy, proud, and excited to be. And so my parents told me that I only had to go to Hebrew school till I was 13 and did my bar mitzvah. And thank God my bar mitzvah day came and I was free. It was only later on when I was 17 and 18 that I had the opportunity to kind of revisit myself as a Jew. And what really turned me on is I went to a talk on Judaism, and I walked in, and the fellow who was giving the talk was wearing blue jeans. He had a Garfield t-shirt, he had tzitzit, he had fringes sticking out of his pants, he had a kippah on his head. He was funny, he was happy, he was deep, and he was actually proud to be Jewish. And that was an oxymoron. I said, how could this guy be so hip and yet so Jewish? And I said, I've just got to hear more. So I came back the next week for this guy's talk, and he really dealt with issues that I as a teenager was struggling with in terms of the meaning of life and what really is the source of our self-worth and how does a person really find true happiness and lasting happiness in their life. So later on, I decided that I would go to Israel and learn more. And what I really discovered that my journey was simple. All I want to be is me. That's all I want to be. So when a person asks me, well, why be Jewish? My question is, well, are you Jewish? Because if you are Jewish, why not be Jewish? That's kind of like asking me, why be a redhead? I am a redhead. I want to be who I am. Isn't that just what we all want to be? Right? So much of the world spends too much time trying to be exactly what they're not. So that's really the question, and that was the question I struggled with. Is Jewishness something just sociological? Is Jewishness just something historical? Is Jewishness something deeply spiritual? I sensed as a child that although, and quite frankly, I did not look Jewish, right? Growing up, I didn't have this beard, right? Growing up, I grew up in a Catholic community, a Catholic neighborhood. I went to a public school. I was the only Jew in the entire school. And most people did not think I was Jewish. Most people thought I was Irish, you know? And so I could certainly have gotten away with it. And yet, for some reason, I always deeply felt a Jew is a Jew is a Jew. Doesn't matter if I have a kippah on my head. Doesn't matter if I celebrate Shabbat or eat kosher. There was a deep sense that this is just who I am. There's something deeply connected to my destiny as a Jew, right? And I couldn't put my finger on it. But when I had the opportunity to begin to study my tradition and begin to explore the lifestyle of being Jewish, Suddenly, I just felt more me than I ever felt.